Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. This is Football Worldwide. It is my pleasure to welcome three gentlemen back to talk Serie A as I welcome them to the Serie A Roundtable, going in a clockwise direction from what I can see in my screen. Zio Amo, all smiles. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Nice to be back on the roundtable as well. Nice to see Adam. I haven't seen him in ages. Anthony, see him every day. And you, of course. So nice to be back.
Nice to have you. Anth, it's good to see you, my friend. Not the result this weekend you wanted, but I know you've got plenty to say.
Yeah, plenty to speak about, Anth, this week. Not a good week for us, but let's tackle it when we hit the games later on. Good to be back.
No worries. And our own personal Santa here today. It's good to welcome Adam back. How you doing, man? Buon Natale.
Buon Natale a tutti. We beat a team in the top four. I just want to repeat, we beat a team in the top four.
And I think you made all of us happy too. Look at me, Anthony.
Yeah. Everyone wanted that result, man. No one had faith. No one had faith, but everybody's really happy that it paid off. So I guess it's good to just go straight into it. Got plenty to talk about, plenty of good games this week. We knew there was going to be a couple of feisty ones. So I'm just pretty much going to start from the top. 3 points that was desperately needed. Oops, sorry, 1 sec. Let me zoom in. 3 points that was desperately needed for Lazio. I'll get back to that. Genoa, shocking. The only article that I'm reading here that I attached to this game to talk about was Shevchenko is pretty much already on the outs. It was so bad, Anth. I remember I brought you into this conversation when he first got signed. Surely this is a manager that's coming in to not bring back Balladini. Surely this is a manager that can get these boys moving to a decent position in Serie A, like in that mid-table sort of range. But it doesn't look like it's happening at the moment, man. Very disappointing for Genoa. Do you think Shevchenko is on the outs, yes or no?
I don't think he's on the outs yet. I'll be honest with you. I think it's the squad. If you look at the squad, what do they have to work with? I mean, what's another coach really going to do? I think they need to give him a bit more time, see how he goes. I don't know if they've got a lot of injuries, but the squad's so thin. I really can't speak about many players in there that you think can turn it around. I do feel for Cheva, and I think he's got. They've got a tough game this week. I was looking at it before. It escapes my memory right now. If any of you boys can tell me who it is. But I think they're on course for another loss. I think it's Atalanta, actually. It might be them this week.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, potentially them coming off a big loss, not looking good for Genoa. I just don't see the change of coach to do anything here. I think they need to dip in the market in a couple of weeks and maybe try and reinforce in a few positions. But again, where's the money going to come from? So I don't think it's Sheva's issue. I think it's the club issue. But I'd stick with him for a few more weeks if I was Genoa.
Yeah, fair enough. Speaking about Lazio, there is a nice headline that has come out the last couple of days that Milinkovic-Savic has fallen out with Maurizio Sarri. Zio Armo, do you think there's any truth for that? And if so, what do you think the likelihood of a player like SMS moving in January, knowing that Lotito is a tight ass and there's barely any money going around Serie A?
Look, to be honest, I don't understand all these people talking about the market in January, especially from the team that are performing bad like Juventus. We signed this, we signed that. We all know the financial size of Serie A. We all know there are lots of teams struggling. You really think any club in Serie A be able to afford that any players in January? I'll be surprised. You're going to see some minor transfers. You're going to see some free agent transfers. You may see a couple of swapping, but I don't see any big sign. I can't tell which club's got the fund to spend money. I don't think anyone's got fund to spend money. Look, Napoli probably going to buy a centre-back because we got rid of Manolas, but we're talking about 10, 15, 18 million transfer player. We don't talk about the bigger. I don't see Milinkovic-Savic leaving Lazio for a Serie A team in January. Like, I don't see the Fiorentina striker leaving for a Serie A. Like, I don't see Insigne leaving in January for another Serie A team. All these teams, all these players, their contract will expire. They will go towards the end of the season.
Yeah, so, Adam, you want to chime in here for a bit?
No, I was just going to say further point to that is that how much impact have we seen in January over the years? It hasn't been that much. I mean, you know, some clubs have brought in reinforcements for either injuries or or a backup to some players on the bench. So you've got that second rotation for every position, but we haven't seen many players that have come in January and made that massive impact. It's a summer mercato. That's the game. These clubs that are languishing near the bottom of the table, I think will remain there. And Milinkovic-Savic, that's an anomaly. So you've got players that fall out and want to move, but there's got to be someone that's going to be able to afford him. When's he contracted till? Do we know?
Still like another 2 years, I'm pretty sure.
Forget about him.
Yeah.
With Lotito, he's capable to put him on the bench for 2 years. We know.
100%. Good point for Venezia. Gabbiadini scored a goal in the first minute, and they led until the 87th minute where Henry equalized. But Venezia, they're actually still a couple games outside of the drop zone. So pretty impressive from them. I'm not going to lie. They're getting a few points where these points count. But when it comes down to the end of the season, I really don't know if they're going to survive. Boys, any comments on Venezia? I'll go to you, Anth. First, so far, they're pretty much everyone's favorite team that have been brought up, despite Empoli's really good form. But I reckon if Cagliari and Genoa still keep playing like trash, and they could be in for survival.
Yeah, you're right. I think everyone sort of likes to see Venezia in Serie A. I'm not sure why. It's the stadium, the jerseys, but they're just the club that you don't mind having around. I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights against Sampdoria. Sampdoria had a lot of chances to put them away, didn't they? And they really should have. And if they had have got the second or third, it was game over for Venezia. They scrape another point away, massive for them. I think that, like you said, Anth, I think they have a chance of surviving only because Cagliari and Salernitana are that bad, and Genoa at the moment, and that's their saving grace. I'd like them to stay up, maybe consolidate for a second year and see what they can offer next year. But, it all depends on Cagliari a lot, how bad they are at the moment, seeing what they can do, where they can come back.
Yeah, fair enough. This was a really good game, and I managed to catch about 60 minutes of it. I watched the replay. Torino 1, Verona 0. Pobega makes the difference as Juric downs his former side, and you could really tell that he had their number tactically, to be honest. Verona really struggled to get into their groove. After starting the season well, they're pretty much 1 win in 5 and down to 13th. So that's something for us to keep an eye on, definitely over the next few weeks, because the Torino, a side that was sort of starting slow under Juric, but you could see that there was change there. And now the change is actually coming to fruition. They're up to 10th in the ladder. So I think he'll actually be pretty impressed with their progress. So some of those mid-table games were actually really interesting. In terms of mid-table, there was nothing mid-table about this. Top of the league against absolute bottom of the league. And it really showed. I know it's first versus second. I know you're expected to win. But at some point, you've just got to sort of call mercy. And this was a little bit embarrassing. And I don't blame Salernitana one bit. I don't blame one of their players. If I was them, one of their players, I'd be handing in a transfer request right now because, as some people will know, there was a meeting between Lotito and he somehow convinced the 18 other presidents of Serie A to delay the decision to find an owner for Salernitana until the end of the season, which looks 99.999 recurring decimal percent confirmed that Salernitana is going down to Serie B. So that clause will become void anyway. Zio Amo, does that surprise you in any way, shape, or form, this decision?
No. And if you remember, Riccardo mentioned this at the start of the season, and that's just going to happen. What's really disappointing is that this is the right chance that we have to reduce Serie A by 2 teams. Look at the ladder, man. You go Salernitana, Cagliari, Genoa. They like 12 points below Udinese, which is 14, 15. These teams, there is no room for 20-plus teams in Serie A. Salernitana, I don't even know what to say. It's like having, it's like having Danny non-City playing Serie A. These kids are going to be trash every week. I often sorry for Inter to have to face Salernitana because I don't think they even put, the energy in. It's like training. They only risk to get injury against these teams because you win easy. Bello, these excuses, the main excuses they use to grant another 6 months to Salernitana is, if we block Salernitana now, it's unfair because some team already beat Salernitana, the others, they're going to face Salernitana and they're going to beat Salernitana. Just give 3 points to everyone that plays Salernitana or remove all the points from the team that face Salernitana. Problem solved. Give it to all or remove from all. So it's just an excuses because they want to help each other. Lotito's got friends, we know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Serie A is becoming a joke, man. The president of Sampdoria arrested. The president of Salernitana we don't know what he does. The president of Genoa, you could tell that he's running away. He got nothing. You went to Sagnelli, he's under big investigation. We've been saying this for many years. Now when the toilet gets stuck, the schifezza come back up. That's what's happening to Serie A right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Adam, man, did you manage to catch Inter play Salernitana? I know it was a clinic, but there's a lot of talent on that pitch for Inter at the moment that are all just hungry and waiting to get on and do their thing and showcase what they got.
Yeah, exactly. It was. It did seem like a bit of a training run at times. That Alexis Sanchez goal was just brilliant to watch. But again, when you dissect it and you look at who the opposition were, it can seem that they were playing against witches' hats at times. But you can see the pattern of play that led to that goal, which is brilliant. I've got a question for you, Anthony. But before I get to that, I just want to comment on Salernitana because we've just been speaking about it. It was all leading up to this. Like, we knew at the start of the season that Lotito had his finger in both pies of Salernitana and Lazio, right? And it was sort of swept under the carpet a little bit, and he was allowed to proceed, right? Regardless of if the club was putting trust, you didn't have to be blind Freddie to know that he still had the power over that club. So for now, 6 months down the track, for us to be at this point, it was all leading to this. So I don't know why everyone's so surprised by it.
You know what's going to happen now, Adam? You know what's going to happen? Salernitana is going to be relegated. And he's going to get the parachute. The parachute is a big amount of money than any team that get promoted and get relegated is going to get it. So pretty much Lotito come 1 year in Serie A with Lazio is going to drop and cash in. This is the status of Serie A. And then every time there is an investigation, the police and the legal, the normal law goes ahead, and 2-3 years later we find out all this stuff. And the sports investigation, 2-3 months, like they did with Suarez, or that they did, they're gonna say, it's nothing, move on.
Yeah.
But these people eventually gonna get caught, like Ferrero from Sampdoria. Ferrero has been under investigation in Serie A for many years, but the Serie A, the Lega, never done anything. Always put it under the carpet. Eventually, when you play with tax and money, you get caught. It's not gonna be the sports they're gonna get you because they're all shifty like you. But the legals, the normal law, whatever you call in English, is going to get you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And like I said, it shouldn't have got to this point. But now the league have to clean it up. And again, it's when you're looking as a supporter from other leagues looking in now and reading this stuff, you're like, it's Italy, typical Italy. So
exactly.
That's where I get upset. But anyway, moving on. It's a question about Dumfries. I know we've spoken about him previously on this show. You weren't favourable of him to begin with. He might have changed your opinion over the last couple of weeks, and I know it was Salernitana. But do you see improvement in him, and do you think that he's going to be a major player for you moving forward?
It's never good when a player gets injured, but Damian got injured where we had a calendar coming up where it was perfect for Dumfries to get 90 minutes after 90 minutes after 90 minutes. But yeah, it was also only Salernitana and Venezia and Spezia, but it was also Napoli and Roma at the end of the day. He's done what he's needed to do to edge himself into the first team and show that tactically he's quite clever. At the end of the day, you sign the captain of PSV Eindhoven. These are players that you want to sign, players that at the bare minimum, all right, we've got a player that's going to give us 120%. He was the captain of one of the best teams in the Dutch league. He starts for his national team regularly, so it's pretty much not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it starts to click for him. However, I still think he needs a lot of improvements, obviously, with the ball at his feet. It's not his forte, but in terms of adjusting to a very tough position in a very tough league, we've seen so many players come through to Italy and Inter more specifically at that wing back, right back, left wing back position that they just get rotated in and out every single season. We buy them and 6 months later, they're out on loan and we never see them again. I don't even know if I need to list them here, but Lazzaro was the most recent one. We had Cancelo. We couldn't afford to get him. Hakimi, we sold for a profit. And these are,
Lazzaro was a good player when you guys signed him up.
That's it, man. It's just that with Conte there, I think he wanted someone better right away. But, he got injured quite quickly and then we sent him out on loan and he got injured again. And, from there, Inter was still playing with money at that point where they didn't know how much they'd lose when COVID came along and all the new restrictions came in. But for me personally, Dumfries is actually adjusting quite well, positioning-wise, tactically under Inzaghi. So I'm very happy at him to answer that question.
So is he Dumfries or is he Dumfries now?
Bro, I've learnt it. It's Dumfries. It's definitely Dumfries. And you know why? Because yesterday at my little cousin's communion, I was next to my cousin's Dutch husband, and he just made sure, he just confirmed with it, man. I hadn't spoken to him in a while. But he also agreed that everybody that follows him in the Dutch national team agrees he's a very smart player in terms of being like a bit of a fox in the box, coming off set pieces and running in from the box as well in the attacking end. But ball at his feet, a bit slow to connect brain to feet. But that's okay, man. We've had that problem before and we're dealing with it well. Anth, did you have anything to comment on about Inter before we move on?
More of a question for you, Anth, and we won't speak about our mate Hakam today. Yeah, another decent
no worries, bro. No,
I know he had a decent game, 2 assists, but we'll leave that alone. Now, my question is for you now, and you know you're a humble guy. Are you keeping a lid on it now that you're 4 points ahead, or are you starting to feel that it's Inter's year again? Where are you at in the Scudetto race?
To answer your question, honestly, Anth, I need to see what happens over the next 4 to 6 games. I think Inzaghi and Inter are in a position right now where you can look at the next 4 to 6 fixtures coming up and you can really say, all right, boys, let's really focus on getting as many points as possible. You get as many points as possible over the next 1 or 2 months and you're really in the driver's seat. It's a nice position for us to be in at the moment, but it's not definitive in any way, shape or form. But as an Inter fan, when you look at the next few fixtures, you know, we close the calendar year with a home game against Torino, and then we come back against away to Bologna. It gets a little tricky when we come up against Lazio, Atalanta, but then we play against Venezia before facing you lot in the derby. And I'd be lying if I said that we're not in a fantastic position to put our foot on the throat of the league. But that's a lot easier said than done. We need to stay injury-free. Of course, in February, there'll be a couple of legs in the Champions League that come around, which is where your boys will really, really need to capitalize. But to be honest, I think that this team knows what it takes and knows that if you are going to win a Scudetto, you can't drop stupid points. You can't drop points like the game against Torino coming up. You really shouldn't drop points against Bologna. And you should beat Lazio at home. If Lazio are having a season where they're coming 8th or 9th and you're first, you beat them. You beat them at home and you don't make any excuses for not beating them. I guess my return serve question to you is after losing at home to Zio Amo and Napoli, and that is the next game on the list, which is a perfect segue to go into that conversation. Have you sort of conceded in any way, shape or form? 4 points is not a lot, to be honest, but are you seeing that Inter's personnel and depth might just have a little bit too much in what is this marathon, not a sprint?
I haven't conceded yet, I'll be honest. I think we're still in with a hope. I mean, tomorrow's game against Empoli, if we were to lose that and you guys get over Torino and it's 7 points, I think then it's pretty much could be game over for us because mentally we're just sliding. And we've taken, you know, out of the last 5 games, I think we've taken hardly any points at all. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think if we don't get over Empoli tomorrow or the day after, we're playing. It's big problems at Milan. If you look at the game against Napoli, look, it's time to be honest. We can't complain about refs. We can't complain about injuries. We can't complain about whatever you want. In the end, we didn't deserve to win that game, and we maybe deserve to draw at best. You know, you look, give credit to Napoli. They played a very intelligent game. They didn't do anything fancy, I don't reckon. I just think they went to do a job and they did it. And that's what you need to do. In the last 5 games at Milan, we haven't beat Napoli. We've had, I think, 3 draws and 2 losses. So we can't beat them at the San Siro at the moment. For me, I think Pioli's lost the plot a bit. I listened to his after-match conference and he said that it was one of our best performances in recent times. I don't know how he comes to that conclusion. Yes, aggressive, high intensity. He said that, and we were aggressive and high, and won the ball. But what did we do after we won the ball? I mean, I don't think we created anywhere near enough in the front third to really challenge Napoli. There was one really good piece of play where we got it wide to Ballatore, crossed it into Zlatan, beautiful header, and just went wide of the post. But after that, really, what did we do? Florenzi had a really nice long shot, and that's pretty much it. We didn't create a lot. With their goal, you know, I'm not sure why Tonali came off the post. We were set up correctly. Ibra was there to cover that.
Elmas was behind Tonali and just in front of Ibra. So when he made the movement to go in front of Tonali, Ibra couldn't catch him anymore. And Tonali made the step to go out when he saw Elmas. So Tonali actually blocked Ibra as well. So Elmas was in front of, with that movement, he managed to block Ibra well because
you're right.
made the step.
You're
so
right.
Realistic, Tonali lost the man. He should have known what's going on behind his shoulder.
100%. I blame Teminnini for that goal, and you'd think they'd work on that at training Armour, to know where there's.
Elmas on the first look, he looked quite free. He looked free, and then when you look to the replay, you see that Tonali's there, and then for some reason, Elmas go in front of him, and Tonali just make a step.
I know. And if he had stayed on the post, maybe he would have been able to block it. I don't know, but Napoli just a smart game. I don't understand Pioli dragging Tonali. Yes, it wasn't one of his best games, but you try and tell me that Kessie played a good game, right? If you look at the game, how many times he gave the ball away with simple passes, he's a shadow of the player he was last year. I don't care what any Milan supporter says at the moment. He'll give you something good, but he's nowhere near the player we need anymore. And Pioli just sticks with him and plays him for the full 90 minutes. So
Carlos called it on our live the whole game as Kessie was playing worse and worse. So he must have said it 2 or 3 times on the live watches. He goes, "Watch, Kessie will stay on and he'll bring on Pianese. It won't be for Tonali. It won't be for Kessie. It will be for Tonali."
And it happened, right? And Pianese is a shadow of the player he was too. He looks lost to me. I'm going to ask Adam a question in a second about our tactics because I want and once Armour's had a chat, but there's a young player at Torino at the moment called Popega. He's doing quite well, and he's on he's on loan there. And you tell me if he's doing any worse than Kessie at the moment. So for me, again, I've said it throughout the last couple of weeks. If Kessie's head's not at Milan, let him go. Let's try and cash in and get a bit of cash. Yeah. And either buy someone and pull him in or bring Popega back. He's doing really well at Torino. Give him a go. I didn't get Messias either, his game. You've got Di Lorenzo on a yellow card playing out of position at left back, and you don't attack him every time you've got the ball. You cut back into your left. It felt like all we were doing was just throwing crosses in. Remember the Italy-Sweden playoff a couple of years ago when Italy did that at the San Siro, throwing crosses in to nothing? That's exactly what we were doing. And Napoli were excellent, just winning every header in the box, winning every tackle in the box and clearing. I'll let Armour speak about Lobotka, but he bossed the midfield when he came in. Brilliant performance by Lobotka, just controlling the midfield. Look, I'll finish by this. It's a disappointing loss because Napoli had so many players out. And if we're serious about the Scudetto, we have to beat an undermanned Napoli at the San Siro, regardless of our injuries. We have to beat those teams. Well, not those teams. We at least have to get a point. If we don't, like I said, if we don't get a win against Napoli, it could be curtains for us this week. You guys have got a 11-point turnaround in a flash. You're 4 points ahead of us. We can't let it continue. Look, the only difference is this is an exact season as we had last year, where we started off really strong. We died at Christmas. We came back strong. Last year, we're winter champions. This year, you're winter champions, Anth. So hopefully that's the difference and we can get back on you. But we're at crisis mode now. Adam, when you get a chance, I want to ask you what you thought of our midfield. We just looked so stretched. And Saki came out after the game and said we didn't play like a team. We weren't compact enough. There was such a big gap between our midfield, our defense, and our strikers. And when I was watching it, that's exactly what I saw. Just too many individuals at the moment. Just a disappointing game.
Yeah, Adam, you can go off and answer that first, and then Zuam will close with his opinion on the game.
Well, that was going to be my question for you, Anth. Is that you touched on already about Kessie and those turnovers in the middle of the park, and we spoke about it last week, where in these transitional periods of the game when you're going from possession to non-possession, you're losing it in areas where then you're automatically on the back foot when your defense is trying to push out. And it happened a few times against Napoli, and unfortunately against better opposition, they're gonna capitalize more times than not. If you look at, I don't know if this is what you're touching on, Ed, is that when Napoli's had the ball in the early build-up, right? Diaz was Krunic at times, Kessie, Tonali. Do you know how like when you're watching the game, you see that tandem four working triangles?
Yeah. I
was seeing things that like at one stage I saw Tonali and Kessie go to the same ball and leaving a gap behind in the middle. Yeah. I don't know if you picked up on that, and it's just something that I'm not accustomed to seeing from any of the top teams in Italy, definitely, because we're so rigid tactically. But especially not from Milan up until this point. I know I've been critical of Milan for a lot of things, but not for that. I haven't been critical of them, of their shape in non-possession. And this week was the first week that I've actually noticed that. Just a note on Tonali, and tell me if you agree, Ant. A note on Tonali. Mate, I love the kid, and I want him to succeed for Milan. I want him to succeed for the Nazionale as well. But I don't know. I'm just seeing a bit of an immaturity in some of the things he does, not in his demeanor or his character or his personality on the park, just in some of his decision making. So, and I know he's young and he'll grow into the role, but at some point we need to see this. We need to see this kid just coming out of that shell. So, do you agree with all those points?
Yeah, I do. I agree that our midfield was so disjointed this week. You're right. There was just no cohesion between Kessier and Tonali. The big problem was for me when we were in attack, there was such a gap between our midfield and our attack, and we're getting the ball wide, and I didn't feel like we had any support centrally. On Tonali, Adam, for me, I'd invest everything into him over Kessie, right?
Oh yeah,
he's the future of the club. So why we keep benching him when we've got that man on screen who won't commit to the club? He wants more money. His head's elsewhere. He said it again. I'm not budging. Pay me what I want or I'm off. Well, go, mate. And you know what? Pioli, invest into Tonali and Benacer maybe. Or bring in that Adley kid who we've signed from Bordeaux on loan and see what he can do. I'm just getting really frustrated with Kessier at the moment because he's not playing like he can. All right, if he was dominating, yes, keep him in there, but he's not. He's giving the ball away. He's getting caught on the ball. Tonali's young. Give him time. Sometimes all you need is some consistency in game time, like Pobega at Torino now. He's playing every game. He's scoring goals. He's pretty much dominating the midfield.
Anthony,
I want to see that with Tonali over Kessie. If I had to pick over them two, I'd play Tonali.
On that subject, Napoli went through the same issues with Manolas.
Yeah,
put him out of the team, put Ramani, and look what happened. We'll probably find one of the best centre-back Napoli ever had after Koulibaly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just these players, they're going to create trouble. They're not happy. They don't want to send the contract. Put them away. I hope we do the same with Insigne because Insigne, you guys watch Napoli play. It's been average for us. And if you watch the first 10 games of the season when Napoli won all 10 games back-to-back, most of those games we start winning when we did the subs and Insigne come off.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, going to what you said, I agree, man. Kessie was the weak link. I don't know how much of that was because Napoli against Milan, we got all the midfielder back, like Demme and Anguissa were back, and then Lobotka after. So I don't know how much of his fault against how much of the good side of Napoli managed to put against you. But if he's a troublemaker, he's bringing nothing to the table. I agree with you. Bring some young one. Worst come to worst, you create a new player.
That's right. Exactly. So, what were your thoughts on the game, Armo? I mean, I think he's played a very smart game.
Going to the game, before I want to answer a question that you guys spoke about Inter or whatever will be on top, I think it's so early to talk because Napoli was 11 points ahead. No one expected to have 7 players missing for a month. Now, in a month, those days in Serie A, you're talking about 8 games. You lose your 7 key players. Manchester City might drop every game. So I would say to everyone, don't even read into yet. March, April is the time you're going to start looking into, especially with the COVID and all this tournament, African Cup, Champions League. You never know what's going to happen. Thoughts of the game was more important for us than for you guys. For you guys, it was a 3-point game, losing or winning. For us, was a game that if we lost, we will drop behind by a lot. And mentally, that will kill us. And especially because the loss against Inter and the loss against Atalanta, we knew that we played with men down. And, we accept those losses. But especially the one against Atalanta, I put my hands down that if we have the whole squad against Atalanta is going to go back home with a bag full of balls. There's no way Atalanta is going to beat Napoli if we play the whole squad. So that's really burned because we knew that you could do better. And then you come from the loss against Empoli where really they scored a goal with the back of the head on a pimple. So for us, it was a game that we have to, it was very important mentally. Those 3 points for us, it's like to say, all right, we're still there. because we went into survive mode. We knew it. Spalletti said it. No excuses. We got the man. We're going to go in and try to hold as many points as possible until we get the players back. And if you just leave the loss against Inter Atalanta, which could be expected, but if you don't lose against Empoli, we would be cruising on a good survival mood. But because we lost against Empoli, the game against Milan for us was a game, 6 points game, not 3 points game, just for the to keep the ladder close. And also, I like the fact that Spalletti know that we struggle, so he went and played a very humble game, like Provinciale. So Spalletti went in and said, you know what, we're gonna defend, countering attack. We're not even gonna put Mertens. We're gonna put Petagna, because what happened in Milan at the start was pressing with 6 players, the 4 midfielder flat and the 2 striker with pressing a 6. All right. So Napoli had always the long ball for Petagna as an option, which if you have Mertens, you cannot do that. You have to try to go out with the ball, and that's where Milan could have hurt us. Also, I noticed that the first half an hour, Milan was pressuring really high. Napoli was managing to move the ball, and I think that also Milan pied that in the second half in their legs, especially the midfielder. So we didn't do nothing special. We set back and countering attack. Anthony was keep telling me that that's Spalletti when he needs to win. I don't know if I can survive another 20 games like that. That was tough.
That's what he does, man.
It was an open game. Could have gone anyway. Could have finished with a draw. Milan could have won. It's one of those games that it's going to come with an episode, a free kick, a corner, a penalty, a deflection, you know. Now, if you want me to comment on the episode of the disallowed the goal, I'm happy to comment. Otherwise, we can skip, because I think, you know, there's more important things to talk about, but I'm happy to talk. I
don't think it was a goal. If I look at it was a foul first, and it was offside by the law. So for me,
everybody said, unfortunately, some media, La Gazzetta dello Sport, and some Milanisti journalists like to create chaos in the Milan supporters. And that's rubbish, all right? Like, it's rubbish when people say that Milan always get penalty. Man, if the 30 penalties are 30 penalty, Milan deserves 30 penalties, right? That's right? It's not the number of penalties the problem, it's when there are no penalties. In that case, so we're supposed to learn to move on. If it was a back, also, if you know how VAR works like this. You score a goal, they need to check the play to what that lead to the goal until Milan won the ball. So let's say there was not offside, they will go back to the time that he pulled it back down. Correct. So if it's offside, if it's not offside, the VAR will have to check a few seconds behind, and then we'll go through when Giroud pulled him down. So it's still not a goal. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think Milan should.
It sucks. The last minutes of the game, it sucks because you celebrated, but there's been some very bad call in history. This one is being criticized, which really is nothing. It's according to the book. It's book law.
I agree. What I don't like, it takes the focus off our performance. So let's look at the performance, not that last episode. We didn't deserve to win. Simple. Yes, you guys didn't create much, but you came to do a job and you did it. We didn't deserve the win. We were lucky if we got a draw. I don't look at that episode and think, oh, we got robbed. No, we played like rubbish, and we need to fix it. So that's how I look at that.
And the last thing, when I see Milan, did something that I would expect them to do it. If I was Pioli, I would have done the same. When they put Giroud in, all they did, long ball or crosses in the box, because Giroud and Ibrahimovic might do it. Look, I love Ibrahimovic. If you watch the whole live reaction, not just my little episode, I speak very high about Ibrahimovic.
All of us were, man. We were in awe of him still when he was playing.
That guy, for his age, as soon as you put that ball in the penalty box, it turns into a danger. I really like your centre-back, Tomori.
He's fantastic.
He's been, honestly, if it wasn't for Tomori, that stopped Lozano a couple of times on a one-on-one, because if Lozano go into space, that could be dangerous. So Tomori was really good. And I think, to be honest, yesterday, if I need to pick the 2 best players from both teams, Tomori and Ramani from Napoli. Yeah. I think the 2 centre-back hold the game to 1-0 or to 1 goal only.
Yeah. It was a good game, man. It was a good live as well. I know Armando enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
And I launched my new YouTube video. Anybody that's watching, it's called Napoli Football Worldwide, and I'm an appendix of Football Worldwide and Inter Worldwide. All right, Napoli Worldwide.
Honor and a pleasure. Honor and a pleasure. The only comment I'd have to that is this is the price that you pay for precision over passion in football with VAR. You want those millimeter decisions. You want it to be right 100% of the time. You have to sacrifice those last minute cheers. That's a debate for a complete other time, as I'm sure you all have an input on it. Adam, I'm sure you've got a lot to say because 4 goals against Atalanta. As much as we all wanted to believe it was possible, we didn't. I don't even know if you did, but go for it, man.
I had to check the mobile phone twice.
What? No, look, it was first it was good to get the monkey off the back by beating one of the big teams because it's something that we're reminded about constantly. I know that I've spoken about how we've only beaten one team in the top 10 previously. But in extension to that, over the last few years, we haven't been able to beat any of the top teams, apart from Juve last season, which at the end of that COVID period, which was a dead rubber really anyway. And both teams played a lot of their bench players. But first team in the top 4. I didn't think it would. When we broke this monkey, I didn't think it would come against Atalanta and Bergamo because we know how hard they are to beat there. But what I will say about this game, which I thought about after, was personally. I think it was the first time ever, I think, that I'm actually feeling more comfortable in non-possession than I am when we actually have the ball. And I think it's probably because of Mourinho's tactics. He creates this battle tank that can't be penetrated when we sit back and play on the counter with the players that we have, because these players, although we have our deficiencies in a lot of areas, they're actually quite capable of doing that. So, and it's been evident in games of when we play lower opposition on the table, where we've had to change tactic during the game when we've either got a goal or 2 goals up, and we've gone ahead and sat back and allowed the opposition to have the lion's share of possession. It happened again on the weekend, and what we basically said to Atalanta was, here, have it. We're ready for you. If you want to come and win the game, come at us with everything you got. And herein was, I think, the story of the match is when we've gone 1-0 up after a couple of minutes by this freak goal that ricocheted 5 times before it ended up at Tammy's feet, and it somehow ended up in the back of the net. And then after that, some brilliant play in transition again. Mkhitaryan gets the ball, on the edge of our back third, plays Zaniolo quickly. Him and Tammy both remained high. Vedett's running through the middle, and Zaniolo's played this back heel just unbelievable without looking. To Veretout, who's opened up. It's just opened up the whole park, and he's been fed through and muscled his way into the box. Got rid of an opposition player and slotted it in the corner. And this is where the game changed, though. So Gasperini, in all his arrogance, has said, "Okay, well, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to take off a defender, put another attacker on, and we'll try and ping his back as much as we can." He said, "This is our home. I'm going to hit you with everything I got." So this was a turning point for me, and Mourinho knew it as well. So I was skeptical because we've gone to Bergamo before, being 1-0 up and copped a 4-1 hiding. So the other way, and we know how quickly once they get their roll on, how quickly they're able to change a game. So them getting that goal back on the edge of half time, really scared me because I thought they were going to come out in the second half all guns blazing. In fact, they did. We were just able to hold them off. They had that goal disallowed for offside, which again I think was the correct decision, which would have made it 2-2 and changed the game. Gasperini had a whinge for in the post match. I don't think it just shows that he actually doesn't know the rules of football at the moment. Well, he doesn't, because what he was referencing was actually an old rule. The rules have changed, and we might not agree or disagree with the actual rule itself, but the rules are what they are, and exactly the same thing happened in Milan. So he doesn't know the rules. We went on and hit him on the counter again twice before the match was up. Well, when I say the counter, the last goal was a counter attack. The third goal was a free kick, which was a result of a foul on the edge of our front third from a counter. But the fourth goal speaks volumes of Mourinho's tactics for this game, especially once Muriel came on and Jim City got taken off. So the game as a whole, obviously wrapped as a Romanista to get that win. I just hope that we don't rest on our laurels here, because I've seen videos of training this week and everyone smiles and a lot of back pats and all that sort of stuff. We haven't done anything. We've beaten Atalanta. Villarreal beat Atalanta. So anyone can beat them. It's just that we just need to go on with it. And so in saying that, I know in last week's show I said that I was quietly shitting myself about Atalanta. I'm feeling exactly the same way about Sampdoria at home in a couple of days' time, because I'm just worried that we're going to get a little bit complacent, and we really need to go into the Christmas break with these 2 wins under our belt, because after that we've got Milan away. So look, obviously wrapped, and happy with the 3 points.
Nice one. Anth, do you have any questions for Adam before we move on?
I was going to ask Adam, and you sort of just touched on it at the end there, but I heard Jose's comments after the game about seemed a bit like typical Jose, a bit arrogant about now tell me we haven't beat someone in the top 5, and you know exactly what he said. Is this a classic case of his words coming back to bite him, where he comes out with a bit of arrogance, and then you go to Sampdoria or at home to Sampdoria and you drop points, and he's left with egg on his face?
Yeah, look, I think his comments were more in relation to the fact that in all the papers, that's all you ever read about every time we come up against Juve, Milan, Inter, Atalanta, even games against Lazio. This fact that we haven't beaten, even before, from when Fonseca arrived to end of his tenure, and then Mourinho's come in. We've only beaten those sides a couple of times over a span of 3 or 4 seasons. So I personally think he's just sick of hearing about it. And what he did say was, people keep saying that we haven't beat anyone in the top 4 for so long. It's only been 20 minutes. So that was it. 20 minutes post the match. So we all know what he's like. He's he loves to showboat it. Usually he's able to back it up, but unfortunately with our squad at the moment, it's a week-to-week proposition. So hopefully he doesn't have to go back into his shell come Thursday morning against Sampdoria.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, moving on. No Juventini here on the panel to talk about their boys, as is the trend so far this season. But they're still lingering around. They're still there. I'm going to go over to Armando first, because we're not really going to speak about the game. They did get the win against Genoa. However, their main headline at the moment is that the potential sale of Matthias de Ligt. And I know that they have a massive release clause attached to this player here. Personally, Amo, can you see them dismantling some of their better players to fund their books?
First of all, they beat Bologna, not Genoa.
Sorry about that, Bologna.
It's the fog. You couldn't see through the fog.
No, I went to check. I said, what you said, Genoa? I was watching the Bologna game, plus I saw the feed. Listen, to be honest, I stopped reading about Juventus because in Italy, as usual, the media pro-Juventini, led by the Agnelli family, they tell you the story. The independents tell you a different story. I think right now, anyone that talks about market for Juventus in buying or selling or big money, as it lives on another planet. All right, it's like you don't know what's happening in the world right now. You don't know what's happening in the financial in Italy. You don't know what happened to Juventus, but to many other clubs too. Who's gonna spend $120 million for the Ligt? The Ligt is not even worth $40 million those days. He has not delivered nothing. He has done nothing. A couple of handball the first season. It's nothing special. When you talk about the best center back in Serie A, you start thinking about Skriniar, Tomori, Koulibaly, Ramani. There is 10 of them before the late. The only things on the side of the late, there is a young fella. But, man, one thing is to be center back in the Dutch championship. All right? And one thing is to be center back in Italy. So I think he should be happy that he plays for Juventus instead of his agent going around and start talking. I think the only reason why his agent start out and start talking is because he wants to increase probably his
that's Raiola. That's the Raiola style, right?
His salary. So every time he sign a new deal, he get a bonus. It starts smelling that he's gonna go somewhere. But I think Juventus is smart enough to put the elite back to his spot. It's not a player that deserves to go any higher. It's already too high for him, Juventus. He has not performed. He's not been shown that he's a Juventus material, in my opinion.
Just to confirm, he hasn't put in there's no transfer request. It's just
nothing like that. It's just all speculation.
Raiola talking, man. Just Raiola talking.
Yeah.
I don't understand how there is clubs that still want to deal with that guy. One thing I love De Laurentiis, when he does like a manager, he doesn't talk to them because I don't care. You want to take your player, take it. Do whatever you want. I only talk to the player.
Yeah.
Imagine if tomorrow morning every single club starts stopping Raiola, football will be way, way better. But president needs Raiola because president are shifty like Raiola. We're going back to what we said before. Shifty president deal with shifty managers.
Yeah, exactly right, man.
Does Inter have any Raiola player?
He had Stefan De Vrij, but De Vrij, I think he still has De Vrij. He's the only one left.
Does Roma have any Raiola player? I don't think so. Napoli, maybe the Bacala that you guys bought from Napoli, the midfielder. I don't know if he was from Raiola.
Who?
Diawara.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Milan probably cut the bridge with Raiola after
Donnarumma for sure.
Donnarumma is finished.
We're still trying to negotiate Romagnoli's contract, and
he's going to Juve for free. He's going to Juve for free. Watch.
He told Raiola to get stuffed. He's going to negotiate.
You know what I mean? Look, Amsic did it. Insigne did it. So if player really want to tell him to get stuff, you're gonna put a beep there. Huh? They can tell him. The other day I was watching an interview with Donnarumma on a Napoli show. And the guy tried to speak Napoletano, tried to look cool and nice. Man, stop it. You all about the money. Be honest, I'll respect you more. Stop saying that you are Milanista. Stop saying that you are going to be Rossonero for the rest of your life. Stop saying that you're a Napoletano because you love the tradition of your city. Man, you're a gypsy that go for the money. You can't lie to me. You cannot lie to the Milanisti. We're not stupid. So stop it. You are in France. You're a PSG with your fat agent. Stay there. We don't care. Guys, I'm really be over about this football and all these agents and everything. I can't wait. It's been going the way I said it. It's been taking a little bit longer, but football is dead, exploded. So it's all about a matter of time.
The bubble is right on the cut. The bubble's right on the cusp of bursting, man. You can already see it. It's being deflated as we speak. Let's move on because we've got a couple other games to talk about. Actually, only really one more. I'm going to move through this one really, really quickly. It was a sad state of affairs at home. Cagliari 0, Udinese 4. It's almost game over for Mazzarri. They've got one Hail Mary. They're going into Retiro this week. And guess who they play next? It's Juve. So let's see if the most embarrassing thing can happen tomorrow morning to Juve as Cagliari play their first game out of Retiro. It's an absolute shambles. Like, they have to get relegated, in my opinion. It's an absolute shambles over there. Very, very bad to see. Mazzarri, just to be honest, I don't even think he knew what he was taking over when he got there, gentlemen, because it's a sinking ship. And you see all these players that they're just not playing for anything. They're not playing for the city. They're not playing for a manager. They're not playing for the club. It's actually completely decimated. And I'm
player by player, they're not bad.
They're not bad, bro.
Player by player, they're not bad.
No, they're not bad at all. They need to be playing better than this. It's actually like, I feel bad speaking about it week in, week out. We'll see what happens because, as we all know, at the bottom of Serie A, you have one good month. You get 6 points out of 12 in the bottom 3 or 4 teams in Serie A, and all of a sudden you can go from relegation to staying up, and the morale can increase. But the last important game.
Can I say something, Bello?
Yeah, of course.
I'm watching the table here. So Cagliari now is on 8 points.
Yes.
And then to be safe, they need to catch Spezia, which is 13 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Evan says, so Cagliari conceded 42 goals. To get you the impression of how many goals they are, the best attacking side so far, it's Inter, all right, with 48 goals done. So Cagliari managed to concede almost the same number of goals the Inter scored. So, you got to look at this stuff, the stats, because just the result, I don't know if Cagliari can pull this around. I don't know.
Salernitana has won more games than them, bro. They've won 1 game, Cagliari. Salernitana's won 2.
Exactly.
Cagliari just has more goals. They're the worst team in Serie A. They're the worst team in Serie A, and it's actually quite sad to see. But
Genoa's got exactly the same score. 1 victory, 7 draw, 10 lost.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. I said it at the start of the season, 1 or 2 bigger sides are going down this season, and I'm going to stick by that to the end. Skamaka had a good game. Vlahovic had a good game. 2 of the most promising attackers in Serie A. It was very good stuff. Fratesi and Raspadori are also playing really, really well, and they may have gotten off to a slow start to the season, but Sassuolo up into 11th position now after getting that draw. They're going to need a couple of results to still go their way, but with a very, very good attacking line and a decent midfield, they're actually looking the goods. A good point for them as well. We all know that they're not going to be flirting anywhere near relegation, but I think the future's bright. I'm going to go over to Adam first to talk about the Sassuolo Fiorentina game because it was jam-packed with action.
Yeah, it was an early game for us too, so it was great viewing. I'd love to have Scamacca and Fratesi back at Roma. If I could just flick a switch in January and have them back up, I'd certainly do it. Look, it was a game of Fiorentina were really unlucky just to not actually go into the break without a goal. There's some miraculous goalkeeping from Consigli during that first half.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Point blank saves left, right, and centre. But Sassuolo just basically took their chances in that first half, and then what we saw in the second half was the reverse. So Sassuolo trying to protect that lead, and it got to the point where Fiorentina was looking like they'd win 3-2 at one stage, but both teams had to settle for that point. But a really good game of football this was. In front of a pretty parochial, crowd there in Firenze.
Yeah, it really was. Anth, I know you tuned in and had a little bit to say about this game as well, man. It was a really good one.
Yeah, I love the game. Consigli was amazing, goals for Sassuolo. But my comment is around, players. You just said it, Tuna. Scamacca, Fratesi. You got Popega at Torino. You got Rovella at Genoa. We're talking about clubs with no money, right? And they go and sign these foreigners from, wherever they get them. You've got good young Italians playing in the league, right? And I know people say, they want too much money, but they're happy to play at Sassuolo. They're happy to play at Genoa. They're happy to play at Torino. So there's no reason why clubs like Roma, Milan, Inter, Napoli can't play these players. It's about giving them a go. I think you got to give these Italians a go.
Tell you.
They're good players.
If they come to Milan or Napoli or Roma, they're not going to play.
Oh, no, but that's the problem, I think. You've got to give these players a go. Look at Fratesi. I'm pretty sure he played at Monza last year in the Serie B. He's come across to Sassuolo, and he's a very, very good player. He just needed the chance. Same as Popega. Couldn't get a game. He played at Spezia last year, had a really good season. Now he's at Torino. So when you're thinking about, all right, these clubs are struggling for cash, maybe start looking at the youth teams in Italy or where these young players are playing and see if you can give them a go. Fiorentina's just signed Konate from Lille, another good signing, I think. They haven't spent big money. So they're spending on foreigners. But I think if I look at Sassuolo with these young Italians and where they're sitting, there's no reason why I think some of the big clubs can't target these players and put them in. And you know what? Stop signing these foreigners that want big money. And really, I don't think they really play for the shirt, a lot of them. I think the mentality's got to change.
Yeah, I think it's not just the foreigners, but it's applied to the younger players. Because if you look, you mentioned Lobotta before. I didn't answer to your question. I forgot.
Yeah.
Now that you said, you look, Napoli had Lobotta last year with Gattuso. Gattuso, instead to play Lobotta, he decided to go and get the Bakayoko on loan, which cost us game in and game out. What's the point to get a player on loan from Chelsea to play?
They're not ready, bro. They're not ready physically, tactically, mentally. It's too hard for these people to come to Italy and find passion that doesn't exist. It's a hard league.
No, but what Gattuso does, and that's could be used as what would happen to every young player that come to Italy. It could be Forester or could be Italian. They prefer having a player on loan from Chelsea that comes for a year, clock the card, does his little job, gets his money and leave. Instead to play somebody like this year, we got Lobotta and Ramani. They both were sitting on the bench all year last year for Gattuso.
Yeah.
And now they are not Italian, but I'm pretty sure they would happen the same if they were Italian. I agree with you. Clubs and coach need to start having the guts to play those young players. Napoli had a young left back on the bench yesterday. I was really happy to see him. He just come back from 20 days of COVID. And everybody talks really good. And he's Italian. He played for under 21 last year. And this year, Spalletti said, you know what? I like the kid. I need to have 3 to play on the left. Why get somebody with a stranger name, sign him up, and need to send his kids on loan? I want to keep these kids and play him. He's already played a couple of games in Serie A, and it was good to see him back. His name, and I'm bad with names. But yes, I agree with you, man. I have to start giving room to the young.
I'm just sick of seeing half-assed foreigners running around the league. When I look at players like the ones I mentioned that could do the same job at these clubs, and have come through the Italian youth system and played. Like you said, Adam, if you had Scamacca and Fratesi running around, tell me they couldn't displace 2 of your players right now. I think they could.
Yeah, they could. And look, to Mourinho's credit too, more out of necessity than anything else, he's given 5 Primavera players their debuts already this season.
Yeah.
4 of those are Italian. So, and the only other one is Felix, who is a young striker that's comes from our Primavera. So, but the thing is, though, the reason I mentioned it is because they haven't looked out of place. Like he's brought them in
exactly,
and a couple of them have started, or a couple of them have started in Conference League games. But when they've come on, they've done the job. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a topic for the conversation. I think around giving youngsters opportunity, but I think it's shifted a little bit from a few seasons ago when a lot of the Primavera players weren't getting any opportunity. But there's still a long way. I agree with you. There's still a long way to go, and let's invest in our own talent.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what's the bad side of this? There are very often many fans and media. You get a players 20, 19, 20, that does a very couple of good months, and they just stop talking about him. Like, look, not offense. Everybody talking about Vlahovic from Fiorentina. Did you guys knew Vlahovic 2 years ago? No. Did you know Vlahovic last year? No. We heard Vlahovic for the last 6 months, but I heard people the other day comparing Vlahovic with Haaland, man. Actually, it was at Interista, the news on his Instagram. He goes, if you got money, would you prefer to buy Haaland or Vlahovic? Now, with all respect, Haaland has been banging goal in every league for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Vlahovic the last 6 months. So,
but
that's the problem with Italian Serie A. Sorry?
But he's proven in Serie A, though. That's what...
Yeah, he's proving for 6 months, man. Iturbe proved in Serie A.
He had a good season last season, too.
Iturbe did... AC Milan had 3,000 striker. Every year they had the new kid, and then they did
number 9.
Yeah.
Look, I reckon Vlahovic is a bit better than Piontek. Sorry, bro, but to be honest, but I get what I'm saying. You know what's going to happen in January? Someone's going to buy him big, and then he's going to go and flop there, and everybody's going to go, "Oh, well, it's easy to score 20. It's easy to score double digits for Fiorentina. Why can't you do it here?"
Kalinic was begging goal at Fiorentina. What happened? Kalinic was begging.
I see different in Vlahovic though, Amo. I see a different player. I think he's a different player.
It's you, but right now you talking on your feeling. But when we go down to number and statistics, Vlahovic had done nothing special with respect to any other kids that are good at his age. He played a good 6 months. I don't take in consideration last year, because last year with COVID, the shittest players play really good, the good player really, really bad. There was a season not to take in consideration.
But it'll pretty much be decided by the end of the season. You can keep it up.
Lukaku goes to Inter. Everybody begging Inter because Lukaku before Inter, let's be honest.
You want to talk about Lukaku and Inter, man? I'll have to move my other appointment because I could rag on that guy and his deal
what I'm saying, then
day,
Lukaku goes
bro.
to Inter and perform like a wow, Then he goes to Chelsea.
There are so many things wrong. There are so many things wrong though with that transfer. Like you could make a whole podcast about what was wrong with that transfer on every single level. And the most obvious one is that it didn't even make sense from a footballing point of view. Yet it still happened for 115 million. It still happened.
Maybe the Russian guy helped his mate. You don't know.
He's a part of the 1%. When you look at some of the richest people in the world, he sits at the big table, so he can do whatever he wants.
Anthony, you're gonna sell your car because you're struggling, and I'm a rich guy and I want to help you. I'll buy the car off you, then I put it in my garage. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's it, man. That's it.
I said enough.
The only other thing I was going to say was that it's still a decent point for Empoli against Spezia, even though they probably would have liked to beat Spezia. Any points from now for Empoli are good points, whether it's 1 point or 3 point, because they've done some really hard yards. before I let everybody go, it's been a really, really good roundtable as always with these three gentlemen. But we've got midweek fixtures. Man, I really don't understand how they keep up with this. It's really becoming a problem. But anyway, tomorrow morning, Juventus play Cagliari, Udinese, Salernitana, Genoa, Atalanta. I don't think we can see those games going any other way besides Juventus and Atalanta winning. However, I'll go to you, Adam. You host Sampdoria. Are you going to get 3 points? Yes or no? What's the score?
Oh God, I hope so. Or else it's going to be a pretty bleak Christmas. There's been those couple of seasons over the last few years where we played Juve just before Christmas in Torino, and people, boy, let me tell you, people know that I'm, and that's why I turned into a Grinch. That's probably the reason. No, look, like I said earlier, we have to get these 3 points. For us, the Atalanta win means nothing. So, look, I'm quite confident that we can beat them at home, definitely in front of another packed Olympico. It's sold out again, so fantastic.
Napoli hosting Spezia. You expect 3 points here?
We lost points against Sassuolo and Empoli, man, and we beat Milan and Juventus. So I'm expecting the boys to sweat the shirts. Then, you can control your performance. You cannot control the result. If the boys put 110%, like they did against Inter and against Atalanta, but we lost because the other side were better, I'll take it. But definitely, if we win, we're gonna go to Christmas, where I was expecting to be worse when I saw those players missing, and in the calendar I have to face Inter, Atalanta, Milan, Sassuolo. We lost that game that didn't expect to lose. We managed to pull out a few points, like games we didn't. So if we win this game, to me, would be where I expected to be. Yeah. But I would say 2 things to watch: Genoa to get the first victory. Genoa to beat Atalanta. I'm gonna go put some money on now.
That's a good pay, man. That's a big shout.
I'm gonna throw away $20, but if they pay me back, it's probably gonna be paid 1 to 1,000, huh? And watch Empoli Milan, the game to watch. I think Milan's gonna pull out.
The next thing I was gonna say, Empoli Milan. This is a good game.
It's the game to watch.
If I could replicate what Armando just did before he, spoke about that game, I would, because I can see a scrappy. I could see a scrappy 1-1 draw. I'll be honest, or I could see a scrappy 2-1 win to us. I'm not confident.
Man. Empoli plays some beautiful football.
Yeah, they do. They play some good football. And Cotrone.
Funny enough, talking about teams not having the guts to play young players, their goalkeeper is on loan from Cagliari because Cagliari didn't want to play.
Yeah. So
he's doing well.
Yeah, I know.
He's doing very good.
I'll take a 2-1 win at the moment. Just need the points.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what it is for us. Anthony, Napoli and Milan have to be in surviving mode until we get our players back.
Yeah, fair enough. With Inter hosting Torino, it could be a bogey fixture, but we've got a lot of players available. So at this point in time,
Inter is going to finish on the win, man. Inter is going through what Napoli went through the first 10 games, the good wave,
You never lose to Torino, do you? At home?
We dropped points a lot up until Conte came, and then we started wiping the floor with them. Honestly, every single year up until Conte came, it was a big bogey side. So yeah. All good from here. Gentlemen, it was very, very nice. It's always nice to chat with my Aussie Calcio panel. I enjoy it every single week. Armando, what a pleasure it was to have you on the watch along for today. And everyone check out Napoli Worldwide. Thanks for doing that as well, Armando.
Are we going to see each other before Christmas? Otherwise, Merry Christmas to all the followers from any team, any club, any angle of the world. We all love the fact, guys, that you keep watching us and send us message.
Very nice. Thanks, bro. And thanks for joining us, my bro. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Likewise, everyone. Merry Christmas if we don't see each other before then. And Forza Milan.
Nice one. Adam, all good. So good to see you, bro. Always with a cheerful smile.
Buon Natale to everyone. Hopefully there's no games that are cancelled due to COVID. That's something that we didn't talk about. But get your masks on and get to the stadio and Forza Roma.
Absolutely, man. From all of us here at Football Worldwide, Buon Natale, Merry Christmas, ciao ragazzi.